Welcome to this video, how to install a single node Hadoop. My name is Sirish and I am a big data consultant and trainer. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to install a single node Hadoop step by step. This tutorial is organized into three sections. The section 1 is overview, where I am going to define the roadmap for the process of installation. In the section 2, we are going to create a Linux server and run some shell commands. And finally, in the section 3, we are going to download the CDH4 Hadoop and install it on the Linux server. I will be using the Cloudera Hadoop CDH4 distribution for this tutorial. As we know, most of the Hadoop distributions are available on Linux operating system, so I'll be using CentOS 6.2 Linux. You can also use this tutorial to install the CDH4 on Red Hat Linux or Ubuntu. I know there are a lot of guys out there from Windows background, but you need not worry. Cloudera Manager makes the installation of Hadoop painless and pretty simple. You just need to follow the steps in this tutorial and you will be going great with your Hadoop installation. This is a step-by-step tutorial to install the Cloudera Hadoop, and our single node configuration would be dual core 64-bit processor with 4 GB RAM, which will be running CentOS 6.2 Linux. You don't need to have the server with you like this. We'll be using the Rackspace Cloud to provision our hardware and OS requirement. During the process of installation, I'll be running few Linux shell command, and whenever I do so, I will give explanation for those commands. Prerequisite: you need to have a valid Rackspace account. If you do not have one, you can visit their website and sign up for an account. You also need to have a Windows machine with XP, Vista or Windows 7 with internet connection and with the latest version of any of these browsers, Firefox, IE or Google Chrome. A word about Rackspace Cloud: it's pretty easy to provision a server there with few clicks. You are going to see yourself, and they have a great support team. They call themselves as Fanatic Support Team, and I call them as Fanatic guys for support. And the other thing I like about the Rackspace is you can get a clean image of the operating system, and in this case we are going to get the CentOS. It's pretty easy to sign up, and you need a credit card to sign up with them. We are going to install a single node Hadoop, but you can use this tutorial to launch a multiple nodes Hadoop cluster with a little modification. We will be using the Cloudera Manager to install the Hadoop distribution here. As I told, the Cloudera Manager makes the installation pretty easy, simple. And finally, this installation is for the development environment and not for the production. We'll be using the free version of the Cloudera Hadoop. With the free version, you can launch up to 50 nodes of Hadoop, but we'll be doing the single node here. And the Cloudera Manager is the component which helps us to install the Hadoop, and the Cloudera Manager also you can use to administer your entire Hadoop cluster. By the way, Cloudera Hadoop is the largest Hadoop distribution in the world. So this was the overview, so let's move to the section 2. So in the section 2, we said we are going to create a Linux server and run shell command. So let's look at the agenda there. So first we are going to provision a Linux server at Rackspace Cloud. So the steps are: we are going to specify the OS image and the RAM requirement, and finally we are going to note down the password and IP number, because these two things are required to log into our server for the future. So time for the action now. So let's go to Rackspace Cloud. Now I am at the Rackspace Cloud website, and I am going to log into my account using my credentials. So you have two ways to do it. I mean, they have a two interface. One is a classic one and one is a new panel. So I'm going to use the new cloud control panel. I like the interface there. I'm going to key in my credentials and click login. A word about a cloud server. So I like them because you can bring up any size cloud server like 8 gig or 32 gig and just use it for an hour or two, and then you kill them and you just pay for the number of hours you have used. So anyways, so now you can see that I do not have any server here in my cloud, so I'm going to create one for this tutorial. And I have to give a server name. I'll give the, so the standard name what I use always for the tutorial. So I'm going to give cdh-hadoop, and then you have a region. So this is the option, where you can specify where you want your server to be created. The rack space has got different data centers like Chicago, Dallas, Sydney. So I'm going to create a Dallas. And next what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the OS what we want, the OS image, the operating system image, and it's what we said is we are going to run it on CentOS 6.2. And the next I'm going to specify the sizing of the server. So in the rack space, actually once you select a 512 MB RAM, so it comes with a combination like 20 GB hard drive, and the cost would be $0.022 per hour. So we have a requirement for the 4 GB RAM server, so we will get 160 GB disk space and $0.24 the cost per hour. It's okay, and I will go and click create server. So you can see the server is successfully created, cdh-hadoop, that's the name I gave, and this is the password I have to copy and save somewhere, because if I dismiss this window then I won't be able to get this password back. So save this, guys. Now I'm going to dismiss this window, and you can see that the server is still building. So it generally takes 3 minutes or so. So this I'm going to do offline, and once the server is active I'm going to get back. So now I can see that it has built the server and my server status is active, and the image, so it has a OS of the CentOS 6.2 which we selected, and the size is 4 GB RAM and 160 GB hard disk. So we have to note down the IP number of the server. So I'll scroll down, go to the network section, and this is the IP we are interested in. So I'm going to copy this IP. So in a notepad I have stored the password for that server and the IP number. So that means now we have a Linux server running at a rack space. So let's go to the next steps. We have a server now. The next step is we are going to secure shell logging into the Linux server. For that we require a secure shell client, PuTTY. So we are going to download the PuTTY, and then we are going to install on our Windows machine, and then using the password and the IP number we are going to log into our newly created server and run few shell commands. So let's go and download the PuTTY. So this is the link to download the PuTTY. So let's go to the PuTTY site. Now I am on the PuTTY download page, and this is the file we are interested in, putty.exe. So just go ahead and download it. So I'm going to do that, and it's a simple installation, and you can do it yourself. So I am going to do it offline, and once I install the PuTTY I'll get back. I have downloaded the PuTTY, and you can see the shortcut on my desktop. So now I'm going to launch the PuTTY. So I'm going to key in my IP number of my server and just click open. And I'm going to get a security warning whether I trust this server or not, and I'm going to say yes, and then the login screen has appeared. So the login as a root is admin in Linux and Unix world. So I just type root, and then I have to key in my password, which I'm going to do it. So now I have logged in to the Linux server, and I do not like this password, a cryptic password, because if I want to use it in the future login, it's not. So I'm going to use, I'm going to change the password here. So the command is passwd. I'm going to give a stupid password here so that I can remember. And it says bad password, but that's okay because this is a training server. And I have changed the password. So now I'll run a few shell commands here. So first I'll try to explore the memory. So I'll try free. -m. So here it shows we have 4010 meg memory, that's a 4 GB, and 119 is used by the Linux. So we said that we are going to run a few shell commands required for the Cloudera Manager and Hadoop installation. So what are they? So basically, if we are running any firewall services or any security services that might interfere with the installation of the Cloudera Manager and Hadoop, so we are going to stop those services. So for that we are going to run few commands. So what we are going to do is we are going to stop the iptable service, and we are going to disable SC Linux. So iptable service is like a firewall, and SC Linux stands for Security Enhanced Linux, and we are going to stop or disable these both things. So let's go back to our shell. Now I'm going to run a command chkconfig, chkconfig list 2-list and iptables. Oh, I spelled it wrong. So you can always use the upper arrow and go back to the previous command in the Linux shell. So you can see that there are a lot of so these are the levels, and what we are going to do is we are going to switch off all these actual levels. So and I'm going to again run chkconfig command and 2-level 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 iptables off. I'm going to run the previous command. So I'll again check the status here. So I'll run the previous command by simply clicking 2 arrows. So I'll get this command, that's a chkconfig 2-list iptables, and now I can see that this all the levels are off here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the service here. So I'll say service iptables stop. So this is the command you need to run. Now I'm going to check the status of the iptable service. So I will say service iptables status. Great. Now I can see we got a message firewall is not running. So this is what we wanted. We do not want any firewall to interfere with any installation, so we have stopped the firewall. The other thing is I said about the Security Enhanced Linux, that's a SC Linux. So the command is to check the status is SE status. So let's see if it is enabled or disabled. If it is enabled, we are going to disable it. Great, it is disabled. So we have done the work of running the shell commands, but maybe we'll be running few more commands here. Okay. Hadoop requires Java to be there. So let's go and check when we installed, that means when we got an image of the CentOS 6.2, whether we got the Java with it or not. So let's run the command java -version. So Java not there, no issues, because when we are going to install the Cloudera Manager will install the Java for us. So we don't care for now, so we are good for now. So I want to clear the screen, so for that I will run a command called clear, so that I get a clean slate here. Yep. I want to check so which directory I am currently in. So for that the command is pwd, stands for print current working directory. So it's a root, and I will check who are the users who have logged in this server root. So that is I have logged in as a root. So I have logged in as a root user, and my directory is the pwd. Oh sorry, my directory is the root, which I got by running a command pwd. The other thing is I want to see the host file where the IP number and my host name will be mapped. So let me go and check that host file. So to display, there is a command cat, and the host file is in /etc /etc directory, and the file name is host. So I have to give the full path, and I'll display this. So you can see here that this is the IP number of the internal rack space IP number, and this is the public IP number. So generally I want this, so I will not do anything for now, but I think sometimes what happens is when we install the Hadoop, the Cloudera Hadoop, so if there is, if these two orders of the IP are in this way, so it might create a some issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this file, and I'm going to swap the swap these orders. So for that I will use a VI editor. So I will type VI /etc/hosts, and here I am in the VI editor. So this is I'm going to the end of the line and press I here. I'm going to type the top IP here, and I'm going to remove this line. Just go and press escape. And so if you guys are not comfortable with the VI editor, you can download that file using FTP client like FileZilla or something like that, and you can edit it at your desktop, and again back you can copy that file into the same directory /etc directory. So I changed that files, that two IP orders. So let me run that command, cat command again. And yes, so now I have my public IP first, and the rack space internal IP the next. So we are good at this point now. So this step is only required if you get this kind of an order in your host file, or if you have any issues during the installation. So I don't want to take chance, so I have changed the order. Now we are going to download the Cloudera Manager. So that's the section 3. So let's go and check the section 3 objective. So now we are going to download the Cloudera Manager, and we are going to install Hadoop. So it's straightforward. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is the download link. This we are going to execute with a wget command on the shell. Wget stands for webget. So let's go to shell and say wget and this link. So I'm going to type wget, and that link what we saw, that's http:// it's archive.cloudera.com. cm4/installer/latest. Then cloudera-manager-installer.bin. I hope the URL is I have typed right. So let me hit enter. Yes, it is. So I'm going to again clear the screen so that I can go to the top and create some space here. Oh, okay, anyway, so now we're going to check the directory. So we are in the root directory, so I'll just say ls. Ls is for the directory listing. So you have the Cloudera manager, the cloudera-manager-installer.bin. If I want the full details of the file, I can always say ls-l, and it will give me all the details. So now you can see here that this user does not have execution rights on this file because we want to execute this file, which is a binary file. So I'm going to run a command to give the execution rights to this user, chmod u plus x, and the file name, which is cloudera-manager-installer.bin. Now again I'll run the directory command ls-l. Now you can see that the user has execution rights with X, and also you can see in the CentOS it is a green color. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead now and we actually will run this file. So to run dot / and give the file name, that's a cloudera-manager-installer.bin. Yes, you have to give the .bin full file name. So I'll run that. So now we are in the Cloudera Manager installation. So this is a Cloudera Manager installation program, and we'll just click here next, and I will accept this license and click next, and I want to accept this license too, and the installation has started. So this is, we are installing the Cloudera Manager, mind you. So after we install the Cloudera Manager is going to install the Hadoop. So once we install the Cloudera Manager, we are going to connect to the Cloudera Manager through our web browser, and the rest of the installation we can do through our browser. So once this is done, which I want it to go offline, so I'll get back to you guys. So we have installed the Cloudera Manager, and you can see the message here that the next step what we are going to do is we are going to point our browser to our IP number :7180 is the port. So I'll just say OK here. I click OK here, and it says the installation was successful. I say OK, and I'm back to the shell. So I said that the Cloudera Manager is going to install the Java for us, and when we checked the first time, the last time, so the Java was not there. So let us run that command again, java-version. So you see, now we have this Java installed here, a 64-bit Java. So now we are good. So now for a while, we can leave the command prompt here, and we can go to our browser and connect to that, our IP. We can connect to our server with the port 7180. So let's do that. So through browser, I have connected to our Linux server where I am running a Cloudera Manager, and it's actually listening at port 7180. So now I'm going to log in here. So it's a simple login. It's admin by default. So I'm going to use that admin, and this I'm going to log into the Cloudera Manager, and this is going to help us to install the Hadoop. So we have a Linux server where we have already installed the Cloudera Manager, and in the same machine we are going to install the Hadoop installation. So now you can see the Cloudera Manager. So what we are going to do is we said we are going to install the free version. So this is a free version. I'm going to select this and click continue. So you can see that the installer will deploy the following services like the core Hadoop, which is a MapReduce and HDFS and HBase, Zookeeper, Roozy, Hive. And so I will just go and click continue. This is where I have to specify the host are the nodes, where I have to install the Hadoop. So if you have a multiple nodes, so you should have created a multiple servers at the Linux. You should have created a multiple servers actually at Rackspace Cloud, but we have a single server, so I am going to specify that IP here, and I want to click the search. I can see, so it has found the host. I am going to click continue. So the parcels are the things when you install, when you use the parcel, so whenever there is update, it will do the automatic updation, but I'm going to use here the packages because I would like to do something manually. But if you want, you can use the parcels. So I will select use packages, and this I will leave it to the CDH4 because we are installing CDH4, and this also I will leave it to the latest release of CDH4. And this is Impala. Impala is a real-time query engine or Hadoop from Cloudera, and we are not actually going to install the Impala because it takes, it consumes a lot of RAM. So I will say for none. And SOAR is a search engine. This is also we don't want, so I will say none. And this I will leave it as it is, and I will click continue. So at this place I have to provide the credentials for my server which is running at Rackspace, because now the Cloudera manager is going to log in there and going to install the Hadoop. So I will leave this as a root, and I will provide my root password. And if you remember, I changed my root password to a simple password, and same thing I am going to provide that here. And I'll click continue. So installation is in progress, and it will take 10 minutes or so. So once it is done, I'll get back to you guys. So alright, now you can see that we have installed the Hadoop successfully on the host. So this was my host cdh-hadoop, and this was my API. So this is the Linux server at the Rackspace we have installed. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. So in this screen we have two warnings here, but you can ignore it. It's just inspected the host, and there are two warnings, so you can ignore that. But just we can scroll down and see. So these are the CDH4 services which are installed. I am going to click continue. Now this is the screen. We have an option here to configure and also install that what services we want to start here install. So we have option of the core Hadoop. We have a core Hadoop with the real-time delivery. That means we are going to get a HBase, and if we select core with the real-time query, we get Impala, which we do not want. So I'm going to select core Hadoop with the real-time delivery. That means I'm going to get the HBase as well. And before I go and click continue, I'm going to say inspect role. I'm going to click the inspect role. This is the place where you can see that on which node. Suppose if you have multiple nodes, you can select which role is going to be installed on which node. That means you want to run your HDFS on one node, or you want to run a Zookeeper somewhere. So all those things. But right now we are just going to view this and leave it as a default. So I will simply click continue. Now this screen is a database setup. So this has not to be taken as it has a database of Hadoop. See, in Hadoop there is actually service called Hive, which is a data warehousing service over on top of Hadoop, and these services what you see here. So one is a service monitor, and second thing is activity monitor and the host monitor, and these are the Cloudera's management service. So these all services, they require a database to store their metadata. So they generally prefer a SQL database. So, but Hadoop comes with embedded database. But if you want to change the location, or if you want to install, so you can use a custom database, and then you can point that, store all the metadata in MySQL. But we are not going to do any customization here, so I am going to leave it as a default. That's use embedded database which comes, and then I'm going to test the connection. So you can see that so the test is okay. So now you have to copy all this and store somewhere. Basically I don't need that now because this is a training server, but still I'll show you that you have to copy this, and so this is where I'll save it. If you are going to run this server for a long time, then it's better to save all this information. Once I have saved all this information of the logins, I am going to click continue. This is a configuration page. You can change here, like you have a data node service, so it's going to be installed in /dfs and /dn directory. If you want to change, you can change. And then we have Hive. So this by default it goes to /user/hive/warehouse, but I'm not going to change any directory. It's just we are going to review this. So this is a MapReduce services which are going to be /mapred/jt. So I'm not going to change anything, and I will leave it as default, and I'm going to click continue. Now it will start all the services here, you can see, and it will start the services, and it's going to deploy the client configuration. So this is the last step. So this will take around 15 minutes or so, or maybe 10 minutes or so, I'm not sure. So once this is done, I'll get back to you guys. So now I can see that all the services has installed and started successfully. There were 19 steps, and all the 19 steps has completed successfully, and we have all the services running, and also it is deployed. You can see the deploying client configuration is also done, so we can go ahead and continue. I'll click this continue. So congratulations, the Hadoop services are installed, configured, and running. So what we'll do is we'll continue and we'll see the health of those services. As I told, Cloudera Manager can also be used as an administration tool. It is a great administration tool, so its more power lies in the administration of the clusters. So we'll just check the health of those services. So I'll continue. So now I can see that all the services are running in a good health. You have HBase, HDFS, Hive, Hue, MapReduce, Uzi, Zookeeper, and actually I'm not going to explain about each of the services because this is out of scope of this tutorial. What I will do is now we'll go to the shell and we'll see these services running at the shell prompt. So at the prompt I'm going to run a command to see all these services they are running. So the command is /usr/java, because all the Hadoop services are Java services. They run as a Java virtual machines. So Java and JDK 1.6.0_31 bin, and JPS is a command, stands for Java Virtual Machine Process Status. I can see that all the Hadoop services running. We have a HMaster, which is a HBase master. We have a name node, which is a HDFS master. We have job tracker, which is a MapReduce master. Then we have a task tracker is also a part of the MapReduce service, which is a slave. We have a data node is a part of the HDFS slave. So you have H region is a part of the HBase. You see that you have all the services running, and you saw also on the Cloudera Manager front end that you have all the services all running in a good health. So now you guys can go, those who are from Java background, they can run their MapReduce programs. Those who are from the SQL background, they can use the Hive to query some data if you have. So happy Hadooping, guys. So this concludes the tutorial of how to install a single node Hadoop. If you have any feedback, please send an email to sirish@tembodata.com. Thank you.